Well, Murder Drones is over. The finale was awesome, even if it does feel like the latter half of the series could have used more time. And I wanted to do something special for the occasion. Since I'm a game developer, the choice was obvious, trying to replicate something from the show in a game, and I immediately knew what that something would be. The abilities of the Absolute Solver. One of my favorite magic systems, if you can call it that. At first glance, it might seem like just fancy telekinesis, and that is what I thought it was when watching the series for the first time, a telekinesis based in electromagnetism or something like that. Because, well, I was trying to justify its existence in a sci-fi setting. That was before I realized what it is supposed to be, that is, a tool for editing reality. Literally. Because you probably know by now that the symbols the Absolute Solver powers use are based on 3D editing software, with position, rotation, scale, and editing. Now, as awesome as this kind of power could be to have in some open-world action game, I have to ask you to set your expectations a little lower than that. I'm just a single person with a few years of experience in game dev, and I'm working on this in my free time. So I decided to base this project on an old one that I started a long time ago, and revisited a few times since with little progress. It is a turn-based combat system on a grid, designed to make that kind of combat feel both tactical and just plain cool. The primary source of inspiration being Cardinal Quest 2, a dungeon crawler roguelike that I'm really fond of, though over time many other inspirations joined it, from the fight choreography in John Wick movies to Into the Breach, and from fairy chess to murder drones. Though for all that inspiration, it didn't have too much to show at the start of the week, or even halfway through it, as by then I only implemented 4 different moves and had yet to introduce actual enemies, or one out of a number of mechanics I envisioned with the goal of adding depth to the system, which I will talk about in a future devlog. Though I did manage to code a status condition system in about 3 hours, which I'm quite proud of. But back to the matter at hand, my original plan for this devlog was to showcase a recreation of one of the Murder Drone's fight scenes in this system. Specifically the fight between Uzi and V at the end of episode 4. I did not have enough time to implement all the different attacks used in that sequence, so I changed my goal to implementing just the position ability of the solver. That goal I have achieved partially. You are able to toggle solver powers on and off. You can select the target to be affected, and then you can either move it to a nearby position, or fling them full force in a direction of your choice. That is what I've got for this project for now, but there is a ton coming in the future. For the position power itself, what is still missing is the ability to select multiple objects at once, implementing a unit property which makes them impossible to select with solver powers, an ability to carry around objects by levitating them and having them follow you, an ability to keep a unit immobilized by lifting them into the air, the ability to catch projectiles out of the air, and perhaps environmental interactions of some kind. Then I would want to implement enough abilities to recreate a couple of fight scenes from the show, and from there I plan on eventually implementing every solver ability we see in the show, as well as a complete toolkit of a murder drone, and probably also a sentinel while I'm at it. From more general mechanics, a combo system which lets you execute multiple turns in a row, and an ability to target specific body parts of a unit, should both enhance the combat system in terms of tactical depth. And for now, I'm not going to plan any further ahead, as this will already be a big challenge. Though honestly, Murder Drone's combat does have a turn-based-like feel at times. Maybe it's not the best way to describe what I'm getting at, but it is the best I've got right now. In the first episode, the combat is a little stiff, and that is an example representing my point, but it's not the best one, as it paints that resemblance as a negative. Let's instead look at something like the clear sequence of actions that happens when V attacks the group in episode 5, or the liberal use of short periods of slow motion in the finale. And that makes my goal of translating it into a turn-based combat system more achievable. That is all I've got for now. Next devlog of this project is coming in 2 weeks, and in the meantime, the next week will have a devlog for Divine Dream, which is a Fire Emblem ROM hack that I'm working on, which in a way I was inspired to start because of Murder Drones, so these 2 projects kinda came from the same place. Anyway, until then, farewell.